Alright, yo, what is up, guys? So this video is going to be a little bit different than my usual ones. I kind of wanted to just take you guys on like a midnight drive and tell you my full story about like how I got to where I am, like how I made my first mill, where I was before, give you guys kind of like a life story, because you guys see it a lot in like stream clips and I talk about it every once in a while, but I never really went over like how I went from literally, like crippling debt to, not making it yet per se, but definitely being better off. So, yeah, I guess I'll just start with like when I was 13. I grew up in like, the Florida area. I went to this really nice private school. Unlike a lot of people who will tell you they came out from the mud, like, not really. I had everything I wanted as a kid. I was addicted to Minecraft, played that shit all day, CS, video games, grew up on fucking, PewDiePie, Scott is Minecraft, like all these, crazy big YouTubers. And at school, I was always like a little bit of a nerd, tried to fit in a little bit, and like definitely got better as I got older, but I wasn't like the most popular, but I wasn't unpopular. Like I had my friends, we all played fucking video games together. We'd go home, do the same shit all the time. And then around 13, I had my bar mitzvah, which is what you do when you're like Jewish. It's like a coming of age sort of thing. So I had my bar mitzvah. Video game addict, like that sort of deal. Nothing, special per se yet. And that's when I first got introduced to making money. I had these cousins who, unlike me, were, very, I guess, poor growing up. And they came to my bar mitzvah, and like while I was doing the like prayers and shit that you have to do, and keep in mind I'm not very religious, but my family a little bit more than me. So while I was doing the like prayers that you had to do, my cousin was just like on his phone on a waiting screen the entire time, and I went over and asked him after like what he was doing, because I was just curious. And he was waiting in line to be able to buy a pair of Yeezys. It was the Yeezy Breads, the black and the red ones. So I asked him, like, how does it work? What he's doing? And he explained to me that, like, they would pick these people, and if you were lucky enough, you'd be able to buy them and flip them from $200 to, like, $800. Which was crazy to me. And that's where my, like, money side of, like, all of this kind of started. So instantly I was pretty addicted, because it was kind of like a video game, except that they're real life rewards, right? Keep in mind, when I did play Minecraft and I was really like locked into gaming, I ran my own servers. I would sell ranks, do kit PvP stuff. Like I always tried to find ways to make money online, because I don't know, it was just in my nature. Like my dad was an entrepreneur. While again we had money and I had everything that I wanted, I was probably like the poorest out of everyone that went to my school, which is crazy, because I lived in like obviously a nice house and had everything, but kids at my school's parents had supercars and mansions and shit that really, really interested me, and that kind of got me like into the whole idea of I want to make money and be successful in life, because I'm surrounded by these people who are living like abnormal, fucking insane lifestyles, and I wanted it. So my cousin is doing this sneaker stuff. It piques my interest. I start doing it, but I kind of applied all the technical stuff that I knew from servers and all of that, because I knew how to code, which I had learned like HTML basic stuff. I applied that for sneakers, and I started to learn how to do sneaker botting, which was a way that you can get robots to buy your shoes instead of having to wait in line yourself. You could have 20 little, and I'm sorry about this fucking noise, I have to get this fixed, but you know, fucking McLaren issues. But yeah, you had 20 different like bots that would go onto the websites and wait for you instead of you doing it yourself. So I got into this and I was hooked. I was addicted. I would do it instead of doing my homework. I would do it all the time. I'd wake up at 6 a.m. on Saturdays for drops. You know, after a bit of trying, it ended up working really well. So from the age of like 13 to 15, I was doing my sneaker stuff. I made an insane amount of money for that age. I made $80,000. And obviously, like, I was an immature kid, so I got into a lot of beef online. I was pretty stupid. I spent all that money over the course of the next 5 years. Obviously, it could have been better, but, you know, my life was pretty cool. Like, I had a supportive family. I was doing my sneaker stuff. Then COVID hit. That's when my parents decided to move to Paris because they were having visa issues with, you know, Trump being elected. It was just easier for them to go back home to where they're from. I'm from France. I grew up here, was American my entire life, but then my French parents were like, hey, we're going to Paris, we're gonna live here. So at first I was like, this is literally changing my entire life. I don't know how I feel about it. And for time, we moved, I accepted it. And now I'm 16 by now, so 2020-ish, maybe 16, 17, I moved to Paris, and I actually fucking love it. Like, it's the first time I discovered clubbing, because over there it's 18, so when you're 17, you get to go out. So I start partying, I meet a lot of people, I really find myself there, and I really enjoy living there. It was a really cool place. And I blow through all this money, including obviously my parents' money and being supported by them and whatnot. So that was the extent of my Paris time, right? I finished high school there. I go to this international school where I meet a lot of cool people I'm still friends with today. And it was like an American school, so I still, you know, spoke English every day, but also, you know, regained French, met a bunch of French people, had a good time. And I kind of fall into the pipeline where, like, I was doing this crazy stuff for my age with the sneakers, and I loved it, and I was very entrepreneurial and worked a lot. And then now all of a sudden sneakers had died off. There was not really much money to be made there. I went from making, like, at the peak 10K a month to, you know, kind of being a loser, like a Nepo kid, where I was just living off of what was provided to me, party all the time, get good grades in school, apply to a good college, and do what everyone else did. And like in the back of my mind, I knew I wanted more out of life. I wanted this. I wanted my apartment, a fucking supercar. I wanted to be a millionaire before I was 21. That was my dream. I was like, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be a millionaire. But I didn't do anything to get there. Oh, God. I didn't do anything to get there. And so I was in this weird spot, and I applied to college, which is what everyone told me to do, and I studied finance because it was the quickest way to make the most amount of money, even though I didn't really love it. I thought I liked it, but I didn't. So I get my college results back. I end up getting into the school called Fordham in New York. And I ended up going because I had nothing else to do. And while I attend Fordham, right, I kind of just fall into like the normie way of like work and life where it's like you don't really, again, do anything. You study all day, get good grades, party, go to school, but that was about it. Keep on going through life, doing like every normal fucking college kid, like a lot of you people watching this video probably, knowing I want more out of it, but not doing anything to get there. Like, I'm DJing on the side to earn a little bit of cash for myself, because as all this going on, my parents start having really rough time with money. So my dad ends up taking a lot of loans not only to put me through college, but for my little brother and my sister. He takes business loans. He spends money in like a very out of control way. Takes money from his friends, leaves them, abandons them, like does some really like bad stuff, but whatever. He did his thing. Long story short, sophomore year, I'm left with literally nothing. I have to start taking out loans for myself to, continue college. I'm now in this spot where I want something out of life. I want to do what I'm living today, but I'm in a shit ton of debt. It piled up to like 70K, which is insane, by the way. But everyone told me that's what you're supposed to do. Get your degree, take out your loans, you'll pay them off later, you'll get a good job, you'll work up the ladder, and I listened and I took out my loans. Now it's junior year. My family is dead broke. They end up moving to Israel to escape more debt, just to take out more debt in Israel. And it's just like a really bad situation, right? I go home, my dad's not really doing anything. He's kind of just like drinking, staying at home. My mom ended up taking out like a second job, well actually her first job, to take care of my little sister and my brother. She's the only one making money. And I'm just in this spot where now I keep going home to my family. I'm like, fuck, like I grew up privileged. I had everything I wanted. And now I'm screwed. Now I have a fuck ton of debt. I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I'm kind of unhappy because I got my internship and I was on track to make 60, 70K a year, which is good, except that when you have 70K in loans, it kind of balloons up to the point where you have to pay for your rent and your loans, and you have to pay for a fuck ton of stuff, and you're not making any money on the side, so your debt just keeps ballooning, and 60K a year isn't actually 60K a year, because after rent, food, life, whatever, you end up with maybe 2K a year left, and you still have that 70 bands in debt. So I was in a really bad spot. I kind of fell into like this depression where I would just go out and I was just looking to do anything. I tried anything. I was trying to make AI OnlyFans models. I tried dropshipping. I tried creating 2 startups. Bunch of shit, didn't really work, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably tried to. I was just really lost because in my mind I was like, I have this internship that I don't really want, and I have this job coming up, and everyone's telling me it's going to be okay, but I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at the outcome of my life, and it's like, this is not what I wanted. So now I'm in my junior year. I'm facing this really big sudden change from effectively being like a nepo kid and having everything I want in life to being just worse than poor, like dead broke, living off of loans. I naturally download Twitter, and I'm like, I find Twitter again because that's where all my sneaker stuff was going on. That's what was at my roots with like sneakers and all of that. It was kind of what I remembered. It's all I knew. And it was like, this is what worked before, so maybe it'll work again. And at the time when I actually did download this, I didn't know. I just kind of subconsciously went back to it. So I downloaded this Twitter account, I'm scrolling one day, and I see these P&Ls on memecoins. And I see that Hawk Tua, the girl that was going viral that month, had launched a coin and rugged it. And I knew nothing about crypto. Like, I know my dad had tried doing NFTs. That's like one of his things when shit wasn't working out, but I never got into it. I thought it was a scam. I just completely mid-cribbed it. And so I see Hawk Tua had rugged this coin. I had like $400 in my bank account from DJing money, which actually paid pretty solid for college. I was paying for my food, for everything. and I see Hawk2 had rugged this coin, and then I see a like revenge coin, and it was called Straight to a Prison, and it was a play on words. It was like Hawk2 straight to a prison, and it made me laugh. So I threw like $200 in, and that coin ended up going from where I bought it. It like tripled in value, and I made $600. And I was like, whoa, I'm working for $150, 8 hours, 6 hours DJing, going to afters, whatever, and I just made $600 off of shitcoin. That really got me like thinking there might be something here. And then I went the regular route that everyone who enters memecoins goes through. I watched Orangie videos. I joined Potion. I learned how to trade. And for the first 2 months, I didn't really make any money. But it wasn't about not making money. It wasn't about not having found like success in it. It was that I found something that clicked with me. Like, I was able to sit on the screen for 7 hours a day. And even if I'm making $50 or losing $50 or whatever, I see that it's possible. It's right there in front of me. It's in my grasp. And it's something that I actually liked learning about, liked doing. And I was like, wow. And obviously I'm seeing these crazy P&Ls, people posting that they've made 10K, 20K, 30K. Probably what you're seeing when I post my shit. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably like bullshit or whatever. So I was like, yeah, these guys are making money because they're influencers. That's what they're doing. That's the secret. So I make a YouTube. And I start posting videos teaching people, what I have learned, the basics, right? Like vocabulary. And you can go back to my older videos and you'll see I was live streaming with a 2-soul bounce. Or like I was teaching people like, this is what a bundle is, this is what a ticker is, whatever. I was really doing the basic stuff, but in my mind, I was like, this is how I'm going to be successful. So I created a Discord group, brought it up to like 5K members, and got like 30 people to pay $50 a month. And I added a Twitter tracker in it, and I kind of replicated what I saw Orangie did. I was like, this guy, I look up to him. He did what I want to do. And I tried to kind of like make my own version of it. And honestly, it worked. I made like 5K a month for 3 months doing that. That's not where the money came from though. And so, whatever, that's where I'm at with the business side of everything. At the same time, my entire family is falling apart. They're in Israel. My mom is calling me every day. My dad, I still talk to him at this time. And, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. They're living in a shithole. They're still in crazy debt. My dad's not even allowed to enter the country legally. Like, it got that bad. And so I'm like, fuck, like I need this to work out. 6 months left until I have to go work my regular job. So halfway through the year, I was tracking this wallet, this guy named Rat Wizard. His name, he also goes by West. And he had made $9 million trading on chain. At the time, I made like a couple grand. I had my money coming in from refs and from the Discord group, which was like around 5 to 6K a month. And I was like, wow, this is real. Like, I am about to go in 6 months, work 9 to 5, 8 hours a day to make the same amount that I'm doing right now, doing something I love. But it's not stable. I'm thinking, yeah, we have like 3 months of this and then it's over. Like, Trump just launched a coin. The fucking market is in peak euphoria, Sol's at 250, like, shit's crazy. So I don't really have much time. I need to milk this and I need to figure out, like, well, what can I do long term? And so I'm DMing West. And I'm like, yo, like, I want to trade with you. He airs me. And then I say, this guy said I'm a quant. This guy Kenzo, who I DM'd a while back about some shitter, and I was like, hey, like, what do you think about this coin? And he made some money on it. It was like, damn, you're a quant. And I was like, Wes, like, this guy told me that I'm good. I was live streaming at the time. I had like 100 viewers, which again is pretty fucking good. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna keep going here. He actually responded the second time, like 6 hours later. And he didn't respond with anything except for an invite to his group call. And so he added me to his group. And now I'm in a fucking Discord call with this kid that had made $9 million doing this shit. And I was geeking. I was with him. I was this other trader named Kev who had made 4 mil. And then 2 other guys. And then me, who, and made a couple grand. I've been doing this every day. Kind of knew what was going on, but like nothing compared to these guys. These guys were dudes, right? I was fucking geeking. I was like, wow, like I can't believe I'm even talking to this guy. Like I have mad imposter syndrome. And so I'm in this call with West, and I'm like, I need to. Oh my god, my camera. Fucking supercar problems. But there we go. I was like, I need to stay on this call until he gets off. And I spent 14 hours trading with these guys on this call. 14 hours straight, non-stop trading. And I think that was like my best day at that time. I had made like 2 SOL or 3 SOL, which at the time to me was fucking crazy. Like I was making $400 clicking buttons, doing something that I loved, having fun, and I felt at home. I was like, wow, this is what I was looking for. This is like sneakers too. But now I'm an adult and I need the money and it's working. And so I'm geeking, right? I think I made 10K a month that month. And I was like, it was on top of the world. Fast forward, after spending 14 hours in the call with them, they added me to their call the next day. They fucked with me, I guess. And then I ended up joining their Discord called PumpSad. Well, at first it was Lex Soul's Discord. It was Lex Soul's YouTube Discord. And they were streaming like on the stages feature on Discord where like people would listen to you speak. So I was up there with them. And then this guy named Earl who owned this F&F group called PumpSad. And F&F is like friends and family in crypto. It's like a group of like friends that just trade together. It's free, but like it's just friends. He added me to his Discord. And I like finally like I found a group of people to trade with because before that I was trading alone. And I finally got decent, not crazy, but I was making money. I had this group of people I could log on every day and talk to, and I loved it. And keep in mind, I'm going to class like this entire time. This is while I'm going to class. In class, I'm trading. I'm not paying attention to school. My grades are fucking dipping from not very good to bad. And I get home every day, and at 6 p.m., 4 p.m., whatever, I'm trading all day. I get on my breaks, I have a 2-hour break, I'm trading. Like, I'm really addicted to this. And I'm making some money. Not crazy money yet, but I'm making some money. Enough for what at the time I would say is crazy money, especially in the position I was in. Like maybe a couple $100 a day. But I was on top of the world. I loved it. 3 months later, everything starts getting crazier. I start making $1,000 a day, $1,500. Some days I make $2,000. I start actually making real bread. Like I hit 25K, 30K, 40K. And then I go back home to my parents in Paris because they had booked a flight from like a year ago with points. And this is right before they moved to Israel. And I see my dad, he's kind of doing nothing. Like he's sitting on his ass, just like, doing nothing. My mom's working her job. At this point, this is like after the summer where I had gone through like 20, 30K months. I think I had saved up like 100K. And I was starting to pay off my loans. I'm in Paris. I'm trading every day because I'm obviously not in school. And I go to, get a drink, like a Coke or something while like I'm trading. And every time I go to the living room, to the fridge to go get a Coke, I see my dad on the couch watching TV during the day. And I know he was trying to do his own thing. He was actually, ironically, trying to trade. Ooh. Every time I turn, this thing just falls. I need to get a better mount. But, ironically, he was trying to trade himself. But like day trading, and it wasn't really working that well. But he wasn't doing anything. Like, he was just chudding while my mom's at work. And, when your family's falling apart, my thing is like, I would be doing anything. I'd be working Ubers, I'd be trying to get jobs, and it turns out he was collecting security, like social security benefits, and just like doing nothing. He was being a bum, which really disappointed me because I looked up to my dad. Like, he kind of inspired all of this, you know. He's the one that was an entrepreneur when I was growing up. He's the one that inspired me to do what I did, and I'm looking at this, you know, shell of a person that I used to look up to, and he just wasn't who I was, and I was like, damn, like, what the fuck? So that's kind of that. And then I get into a big argument with him, and he treats my mom pretty bad and does some bad things one night, and him and his cousin get really drunk on my brother's 18th birthday, which was supposed to be like a special moment where we like forgot about everything that was going on in our lives and kind of just chilled out and enjoyed our dinner. And then he came home drunk and did nothing. This camera setup is really bad. I'm gonna have to ask Brez how he does this, because that's not good, but whatever. He came home drunk. I couldn't even be the house, so I ended up going to Switzerland with one of my best friends and staying with him. I was just like, I need to get out. I need to change of scenery. So I go to Switzerland with one of my best friends. I stay with them. And that day, I get a text from Orangie, who had seen my content. And he's like, yo, I've seen your stuff. Because I'm posting every day. I'm, you know, picking up followers. I don't have much, but I have like 6K. He saw that I used to be in Potion. He DMs me. He's like, yo, I'm gonna be in New York. Like, are you here? Can you be here tomorrow? I want to shoot a day in the life of you. And I was like on top of the world, but I'm in Switzerland. So I'm like, fuck, like how do I get to New York? He's like, just book a flight, whatever, it's worth it. I was like, yeah, probably is worth it. And then I book a flight the next day. Business. I spent like $3,000. I maybe had like 20 or 30 in my bank account, but I was just like, I need to be rested up, sleep well. I just need to get to fucking New York. I need to film this video with my idol. So I get to New York. We did a day in the life. It was really fun. And then everything starts picking up even more. That weekend was actually the day I cut off my dad. I was like, I want you to get better. I want you to work, but I can only speak to you if you get your shit together. And honestly, that still hasn't happened. But anyways, I did this video with Orangie. It does really well. Helps me a lot. Made me feel more confident about what this is and what I do. And I'm like, damn, like I have something real now. Like, I'm making good money. I'm in college. Why am I still in college? So I actually end up calling a tax guy that week when I get back, now that I'm in New York, before the semester is starting again. And I just wanted to explore, like, what would happen if I came back home? Like, tax-wise, is it worth it? Because obviously New York has, like, disgusting, you know, 40% tax, and Miami's a lot better. And I was like, I kind of want to go home. I kind of want to give this a real shot. Go full-time content, full-time trading. I've saved up enough to pay off a lot of my loans. Not all of them, but like a majority of them. I already paid them off by then. Like 100K in my account. And again, I'm talking through all of this, and you have to keep in mind I'm working, you know, more than 9 to 5. I'm working 10 hours a day, but I'm addicted to this. I found my fucking calling. I love what I do. It's fun. I'm good at it. I've met people. Life is starting to look better for me. So I call this accountant, and he's like, yeah, move to Miami, because right now, with the taxes you're gonna have to pay, you get to live there for free. The tax that I would save by moving to Miami versus New York was equivalent to what my rent at the time was, I think, $1,200. So around 15K in taxes saved. So it's as if that entire year worth of like rent, well, if I move to Miami, I can save that in taxes, so it's kind of like I just, get that shot. So the next week I hire movers, I found an apartment, I find everything, and I move. And I recorded that video for you guys. It's on my channel. It's called Making 500K and Moving to Miami. So I guess by then I'd made 500K, maybe a little bit more than I thought then. But it was a really big step for me. I paid off my loans. I moved to Miami. And then I probably, when I was in Miami, had like 300, 400K. And then I started shooting content. I trade more. I get addicted to it even more. It's all I do all day. I meet my friends. I get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I make more YouTube videos. It didn't come without its rough spots, but that's kind of when everything kind of got smooth. And I achieved my dream. 10 days before my birthday, turning 22, I reached $1 million. And honestly, from 500 to $1 million, which again was Miami, it was like a blur. Like that difference, I didn't even realize I'd made $1 million until I'd made $1 million and I'd been staring at it in the account. But I wasn't counting up, it was just coming. Like, it just naturally happened. I had this flow to me, to what I did, to life, where I knew what I was doing, I knew where I was going, and I just kept working, and it just kind of came, for me, the issue wasn't, or I guess the hard part wasn't making $1 million. That just came with working. The hardest part was when I had no direction. When I was sitting in those college classrooms, depressed. When I would go home and see the people the person I looked up to in a really bad spot. When I had lost everything that I'd been so accustomed to having growing up, that was where the issues were. The hardest part. That was it. Getting out of that was the hardest. But once I found my momentum of like, I'm good at this, I love it, I'm making a little bit of money, it all kind of just happened. And it happened like a blur. It happened so fucking quickly because I'm now at the point where I don't have 1 mil, but I've gone to 2 mil. And I got my dream car. And I have my apartment that I love and my dream life. And I have everything that I fucking wanted as a kid growing up. And I'm living the life that a lot of like the people watching me dream of. And I'm gonna go to Raising Cane's and get some food. That's probably the thing. I've never been to Raising Cane's. I said I wanted to try it. The hard part wasn't making money. Even though that's what it seems like it is. And I know, like, it's so distant. And it feels so fucking hard and difficult because, trust me, I was you, bro. I was watching Orangie and Brez and TJR and all these videos of these people that are super successful, like, and I'm like, how the fuck are they doing this? Like, I'm working as a DJ. I'm working as a DJ, and I'm making what these guys do in a minute. And I don't know what to do. Like, that spot of my life was crazy because, bro, like, I don't know, it was really, really hard. And the thing that took me out was finding that one thing, that one hustle, that one passion that clicked with me and that worked for me, and that I could spend 12 hours a day on without having to worry about it. Oh, is the money gonna come, or am I making enough money, or whatever? Because it was just like when I used to play Minecraft and CSGO. It was just like a video game. I was just hooked to it. It was natural, except that instead of getting a higher rank, you were getting more soul, more little points, more money. And it doesn't feel like money, because when you're trading, especially with soul, you're not thinking, oh, like I just made $100. You're thinking, oh, I made +1 soul, or I just made $1,000. I made +10 soul. Like, that's kind of where that like connect worked really, really well for me. Is that I was chasing all these different avenues and things and hustles and whatnot to try and make money, and the funny thing was, the thing that ended up making me so much money was something where I didn't have to think about it. It was natural. It just came to me. It was like a game. You know, I would hop on every day, and to have my friends. I love what I do. I was making a shit ton of money doing it. Now, where I'm at, well, I have a few mil, which is fucking crazy, by the way, to say that shit. Like, what the fuck? I'm driving my dream car right now, and I'm not satisfied. Like, no, I mean, I have this feeling of accomplishment, this overwhelming joy in me, but I want more. And now I have a direct line of sight into how I'm gonna get it. I know exactly what I have to do to get to where I want to be. And I know it's a lot of work, and it's gonna be a lot more talking to you guys, a lot more videos like these, a lot more professionally recorded videos like these. Like, what is this shit, dude? It's fucking clamped onto my thing and shaking. You know, I gotta make that better. But I know what I have to do. I just have to do it. And I've been fortunate enough to meet my idols, people I looked up to, people like Brez and Orangie, for example. When I met Orangie, like, obviously I try to play it cool. Same thing with Brez, but bro, inside I was geeking. I was like, damn, like, these are people that I used to watch on a screen that had my dream life, and now I'm fucking living it now, you know? And I'm doing it myself. And I did it myself. And I did it with the help of these people, right? Like, these people helped me a lot to get to where I am, and I'm forever grateful for Orangie and what he did. Like, for him, maybe it was a small thing. It was, oh, just another day. I'm gonna shoot content, and I'm gonna do this IRL with this kid, and like, I know I'm helping him. For him, maybe it was normal, but for me, bro, like, it changed my entire life. It changed the course of where it was, and who knows if I would have gone exactly to where I am today without him telling me to fly out to New York, me taking that leap to fly out, buying that ticket, and then immediately being like, oh shit, this is real, let me move to Miami. Like, would I have moved to Miami immediately? Would I have met all the friends that I've met today? People like Tim Wiley, who are ex-traders, who, you know, I've just been having a lot of fun with, partying with, have become my best friends. You know, I go out with them, I talk to them, because of them, I met, you know, Cupsy, Sented, all these crazy traders that, like, I'm not I mean, it's weird, because from the outside, maybe it looks like I'm on their level, but from the inside, like, I still don't feel like I'm at where I can be and where I'm supposed to be and where they are. And obviously, like, I'm definitely not, because they have a lot more money than me, but I don't know. I trade with them every day. Like, these are people I call my friends. Like, Orangie is my friend. Cupsy is my friend. And it's weird, because those are names that when I first started, they weren't my friends, they were my inspiration, they were out of reach. And now, like, I'm there. So, I don't know, I guess that's not as, like, motivational for you guys. So, like, how if I were talking to myself earlier, who wouldn't have believed anything that you were saying. Like, I know you're taught to have unwavering confidence in yourself, and you're taught to, everyone says, yeah, like, you can do it. But when you're in that position where you have nothing and life isn't looking that good for you and your entire family's falling apart and you don't know what to do, it's a lot harder to say, yeah, I can do it, you know? But believe me when I say you can do it, because I did it. And if I could do it, that means that you can fucking do it. You can do anything. I think the one thing, if I were to pick one thing that brought me to where I am today and gave me the outcome of having the life that I've dreamed about ever since I was 13 years old, flipping sneakers, it was probably grit. Because behind this story that I told you guys tonight of, you know, my parents, behind this story of everything I told you guys today, there was hours at work. Like hundreds and hundreds and almost thousands of hours. Like, instead of doing my homework, I was doing this. Instead of listening in class, I was doing this. I skipped my final to trade because the market was good. I was addicted to this shit. I don't think that trading is for everyone, right? I don't think that every single person that watches my videos is going to be a successful trader. In fact, the majority of them aren't. The majority of you guys are probably going to lose money if you try. But if there's something that I think is true to everyone and that is applicable globally, it's that if you put in the hours into anything, then at one point it'll work out. And if you want something bad enough and you put in those hours, and I mean really, and I mean, you know, like, no fucking excuse of, oh, I have a job, I have school, I have this, I have that. I had it too, bro. Everyone had it too. That's not an excuse. You always can make time. But if you're truly hungry enough, you truly, really want the dream life, you really want this fucking car, you want it, you will find the way and the time and the energy to put into getting it. And again, you can do that with anything. You can do that with brand scaling, drop shipping, whatever you want to fucking do, whatever you want to call the hustle, whatever it is. It's not a question at all about luck or skill or anything like that. It's a question about time, because I was a dog shit fucking trader, bro. Like, before I met all these people and got better, like, it was months of making no money. Literally, I would manually copy trade West. I would go on his wallet, I'd see something he'd buy, I'd buy after him on top of the actual copy traders, and then I'd wait for him to sell, and then I'd sell, and then I'd lose money. I was trying to work off the backs of others. And what ended up working for me was I needed that push of being in that group and learning. But, like, you can get that push in anything you do if you put enough hours, because me ending up joining that group didn't really take luck. It took a lot of reaching out, because I didn't only reach out to West. I asked these guys from S2 FNF, random FNF. I asked Kenzo. I asked so many fucking random people to trade with me. I never got the time of day. People were trying to charge me money to join their Telegram scam groups. Like, just like how I get fucking hundreds of DMs from you guys asking me to trade with you, and like, most of the time I say no, but there are a few people that I've answered to and that I've added to groups because of the way they've approached me, and because I kind of want to repay the favor of what happened to me to others. So, like you need to put in the time in whatever it is that you want to do, whether it is trading, whether it's drop shipping, brand scaling, whatever. You need to put in a disgusting amount of time. You need to find it, and then you need to use that time correctly too. Like, you need to be reaching out to as many people as possible. You need to make a name for yourself, whether that's through a brand or through fucking faking P&Ls like a lot of my other friends did. Or like, you don't get to this without having, at least online at our age, right? To be 22 years old with $1 million, I think the only way to do it right now is having some sort of brand. And I'm not saying that because it's what I did, or because of, I'm not saying that you need to go record content and be a YouTuber. Like, that's one path, and it's something that I was doing ever since my Minecraft days, right? Like, I used to do videos for my sneakers in Minecraft and whatever, so it was kind of like a natural instinct for me to go back. But I'm not saying that doing YouTube is what you need to do. I'm saying that building a name for yourself is what you need to do. And that's in whatever space. Like, you can't just go into something, put in the time, and then think that it's going to work out because you're dedicating and pushing these hours that I'm telling you to push, but you're putting them in the wrong way. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to spend the hours. Yeah, that's the fucking first step, and that's a necessity. That's a non-negotiable that you need to figure out and spend the hours. But the second step is that you need to outreach. You need to talk to as many people as possible. Put your name out there, whether it's Twitter or social media or YouTube or whatever. At one point, after enough trying, after not giving up enough times, it'll work out, and your path will lay itself out for you, just like it laid itself out for me. And I told you guys the specifics today of everything that happened. You have to, in 40 minutes or 50 minutes or an hour, or however long this is going to be, I can't tell you guys every little small detail because there was a lot more to it. There was a lot more fights and, bad times and alcoholism and good times making my fucking first 40K in a day. Like, there were times where I tried to do some bad things to myself, and I kind of took a page out of my dad's book, like, or when I called my parents crying because I didn't know what to do. Like, there was that. But before I started trading at all, I had called my parents, and I had this internship, and I was like, fuck, like, I'm not happy. I don't have something that I'm doing every day that makes me happy. Like, I have everything that everyone told me to get, and I listened, and I got the fucking, I got everything. I listened to the exact route that everyone tells you in college to get. I got the internship. I got the grades. I did everything, and I was now in the spot where it's like, fuck, like, I have fucked on a debt. I don't know what to do. Like, it was just, there were good times and there were bad times. And in an hour, I can't go over every little small detail. But what I can do is tell you that your path is going to line itself out. It's not going to look like mine. It's not going to look like Prez's. It's not going to look like Orangie's. It's not going to look like TGR's. But it's going to line itself out for you if you put in the time and the work and the energy. It'll work out for you. You just need to give to get. You need to give the energy that you want returned to you out in the world. For some people it'll take a lot longer, for some people shorter. You'll need to acquire a skill set if you don't already have one, or you'll need to integrate your skill set creatively in whatever it is that you choose to do. Like, let's say you're really good at, I don't know, graphic design. and you want to do brand scaling, then you need to integrate that graphic design into when you're scaling brands. You need to sell logos. You need to do that. Or trading, for example, I integrated coding into my trading. That was a big thing for me. I used Claude and made custom tools and used my coding skills to help me become a better trader. So, they're the technical parts, and I've gone over the technical parts a bunch on this channel. This is more of the psychology of what got me to making millions at 22, and what got me to truly finding happiness. I'm gonna end this video here. You guys can do it. You can do it. And I hope that if you got anything out of this video, it's that. Like, if I could do it, you can fucking do it too. Anything is possible. I know it's fucking cliche. It's the most cliche advice. Everyone fucking says it. Everyone's like, yeah, like, all you need to do is put in the hours, you need to work, anyone can do it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I know how cliche it is, trust me, because I was in your position. But it is true, and there's a reason it's cliche. There's a reason it's all that anyone says. Like, that's why. Because that's what it is. That's the secret. There's no other secret. There's no cheat code. I wish there was, bro. That look, he just made me scratch that shit. I wish there was a cheat code, bro. I really do. The cheat code is just put in the hours. Find what you love. Build an addiction to it. And get those hours in. That's all it takes, bro. That's it.